See another one coming here, so. This is literally like 2 minutes after I stopped filming the other one. And there's one coming from behind me as well. Sorry, it's hard holding it. Get neck ache. I know it's pretty boring and it's just looking at the same thing all the time. That's all I'm ever filming. But it's just interesting to see how it happens and how regularly it happens. And how most people don't bother to notice it. I mean, I say they don't bother to notice it because they choose not to notice it because it's not like it's unnoticeable, you know? And the thing is that it doesn't in any way resemble any natural kind of cloud formation because it's not natural cloud formation. But these aerosol trails will slowly disperse, you know, if I just zoom in, that will unfurl and start spreading out over the course of the next half hour. But I just want you to appreciate that the only reason I'm showing you this is not natural weather formation. This is man-made, modified weather happening as a result of aerosol spray. Look at this one, you see? This one coming out like a big tongue here, in between the two trails. And then you got the background sort of big bank. You see that's another trail there, the big wide bit. But that's been there longer and so it's dispersed and spread out, dissipated more. Then you get this other weird one, like this one, coming out. And the closer you get into it, you see that it really is just like floating masses of kind of like aerosol droplets, you know, particulates, solid particulates of metal salts and whatever else is aggregated around it. And that's going to slowly condense out. And all I was doing was coming out to finish doing some work on the roof, and look what I get greeted by. And I don't always stop and check it out, but there you go, as we're going there's another one. It's just sometimes when it's so blatantly obvious, flagrant, you know, it's in your face. And maybe if I was living in a big smoke in the city, it just gets all confused and muddled up and mixed it up with all the other pollution. But I know I live in the countryside and it's not like there isn't any pollution in the countryside with all the chemicals and shit that the farmers use and traffic, like anyway, you got diesel and petrol fumes being expelled, emissions, all that kind of thing. Pesticides, herbicides in the water. But this is more insidious because for the most part people don't look at it or bother to question it or think about it. And yet it sits up there in the sky. In some ways it stops us having rain, in other ways it's like it's going to be the trigger for rain either way. This is all crud that's up there, toxic crud that's ending up in the airflow, in the air column. And that doesn't just stay up there as harmless, inert substance in the air. It's not like you can say, oh, it'll just blow away, and it never comes down. It does, it's slowly precipitating down onto the land and the sea and the lungs, isn't it? Now people will say, oh, but they all leave trails. No, they don't. No, and they don't all leave persistent trails. There's planes that fly over, and they, if anything, they have on screen here, you might see about an inch of trail, and then it disappears straight away, dissipates, it evaporates. So not every time planes fly over, you don't always get the trails. But when you get trails like these, that are very obvious, because you can see that the sky was completely clear. The sky was completely clear and blue. Looks like there's gonna be one of them days. And that's why I haven't stopped filming yet, just to show you the continuity of it. Okay? So here's another one. There you go. See, they're close. I mean, there you would say, what is the altitude difference between? There's no horizontal distance between their traces. That doesn't conform to aviation regulations. The only way they can do that is if one of them is at least 5 miles above the other one, I would have thought. 5,000 feet, I would say, not 5 miles. But they don't look that high, and yet you would think, well, that's got to be. I mean, certainly air traffic control must notice that. So it's not without the powers that be knowing. And the other interesting thing is this: you can go online and check out aircraft tracking sites in real time. There's a slight time lag, a few seconds, or sometimes maybe anything up to a minute, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's not second per second real time, but it's pretty accurate. It's not hours later, or it's not half an hour later, And that's supposed to show all of the proper registered aircraft in flight. And the only one, and certainly all the civil commercial traffic. There are certain non-registered flights which don't get registered on screen on the tracking. And certainly they don't track military stuff. Foreign, well, it's not foreign. Well, I say foreign, yeah, because you do have foreign stuff, foreign military flights that would track over France because if they were allied or whatever. But certainly like the French Air Force, I'm in France, the French Air Force, they wouldn't be showing up their stuff on the screen. And I know that because I get Mirages and Rafales flying over here, low level. Sometimes they do high level circling, which sounds like supersonic booms constantly rumbling on. And then they come over the trees, they literally come over at sort of 100 meters height. Or less, because I've seen the pilots' heads in the cockpits. Or the helmets, rather. You can see the personage sitting up in the cockpit. And of course that stuff doesn't show up online. But when you do that, and you look and see if there's anything showing up over this place, nothing. And none of it shows up. And yet, when you come out and look in the sky and see the evidence of all of these flights that have passed over, and that are laying down all this dirty smog of pollution and toxic precipitates, articulates, aerosol, whatever you want to call it. I call it dirty shit spray. Well, then that should be showing up on the tracking sites as well, just the evidence of those flights. So, I don't know. And I don't have the answers, but like I say, I don't know. I'm just curious about strange things. And I question things. And when you either see that no one else is questioning them, or that people question it, and the responses they get are just totally fallible and dubious and ambiguous, then that just suggests that there's something untoward and not straight about it. I've been living here for 14 years, 15 years, 15 years. It's just constant. You get some time off, you get some days when it doesn't happen, of course. Then you get days when it's non-stop. But this is a pretty good, healthy... It's true. It's truth, man, that is not healthy. No, the sun is just coming up as well. "27th of December. This is going to be one of those days. I mean, I've got to get on with things. I can't just stand here all day filming. But at the moment, and it's hard trying to keep it still, and because I'm on full zoom focus, and then as soon as you move, you just lose the space and it goes all blurry. Trying to get it back into focus takes a while. And when I'm trying to concentrate on doing that, and keep it steady, it's hard to keep looking around elsewhere and see what else is happening. Because as I say, sometimes you're looking in one direction and then whilst you're looking over here, it's going on over there on a different trajectory from a different aircraft. Yeah, so within a space of, I mean, I've been filming what now, maybe 15 minutes already? 20 minutes? I don't know. I'll have to stop in a minute. I just wanted to give you an idea of how pervasively continuous and rapidly dispersal takes place, you know. And that would be setting the thing. And I've got this thing on my chest right now. Went to town 2 weeks ago. Just over 2.5 weeks ago. First time I've been out for ages. Went somewhere in a crowded situation, went to see some friends who were sick. I caught a bug off them. And since then, I've been just like churning it out. And I can't get it shifted. So either they pass me some real dirty pollution infection, or because of the weather conditions and atmospheric conditions, since I've been trying to go through it and heal from it, get better from it. Whatever I do, it's just not wanting to shift. So maybe that's just because the ambient conditions are not conducive to it. Because all of this stuff is going on at the same time. Well, anyway, I have to get on with some work, so I have to free up my day for some labours, and you have to free up your thoughts and your time and space, and free up your mind. Because if you don't, I tell you, the government sure as hell ain't gonna do it for you. Yeah, man. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. I've no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop at a time. Alright, walk good.